Breaking news! The Miami Dolphins are heading into the draft with a clear mission to strengthen key positions and add high-impact talent to take the team to the top. With the 13th overall pick, the Dolphins are evaluating a variety of options, especially in areas of need such as offensive line, cornerback, safety, and defensive line. And based on the latest analysis, there are 5 names that stand out as top targets for Miami. I'll tell you everything we know in a moment, but first make sure you've hit the like button if you've been a Miami Dolphins fan for over 20 years. It's great to see fans of all ages. There are people here who were at the first game. Maximum respect. Now let's get to the possible signings that are on the table. Let's start with the offensive line, without a doubt the biggest need on this roster. Will Campbell, the offensive tackle from LSU, is a name that should excite Dolphins fans. He played left tackle in the SEC, and while some analysts project him as a guard at the next level, his versatility makes him a perfect fit for Miami's system. His combination of size, technique, and agility makes him an ideal candidate to step up at left guard or even compete at tackle. The big question is whether he'll still be on the board at 13. There's a chance he could fall, and if that happens, Miami should pounce. But Campbell isn't the only elite lineman in the conversation. Armin Mio, the offensive tackle from Missouri, is another top-tier talent. Mio played right tackle in college, but has the skill set to transition to multiple positions. He's been climbing draft boards rapidly, and some experts believe he could go as high as the top 5. If he somehow falls to Miami, it would be an absolute steal. Between Mio and Campbell, Dolphins fans should be thrilled if either one lands in South Florida. Now, let's talk about the secondary, another major area of need for Miami. Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan, is a player the Dolphins should strongly consider. With Jalen Ramsey holding down one side, Miami desperately needs a long-term solution on the opposite boundary. Johnson has the size, speed, and ball skills to thrive in Vic Fangio's defensive scheme. He was once projected as a top 5 pick, but injuries in 2023 caused his stock to dip slightly. That could work in Miami's favor, making him available at 13. Imagine a future where Johnson takes over as the CB1 after Ramsey's tenure. This pick could set the secondary up for years. Another defensive back who could be in play is Malaki Starks, the elite safety from Georgia. Starks is simply a special athlete. He has the range, instincts, and physicality to be a game-changer at the next level. The Dolphins met with him at both the NFL Combine and his pro day, a strong indication of their interest. Chris Greer, Mike McDaniel, and Anthony Weaver were all in attendance, and Starks put on a show. If Miami wants a true playmaker to solidify the back end of the defense, Starks is the guy. And then there's the wild card, tight end Tyler Warren. Miami doesn't have a glaring need at tight end, but Warren is different. At 6 feet 5 inches, 256 pounds, he's a matchup nightmare with elite athleticism, strong blocking skills, and the ability to make contested catches. The Dolphins already utilize plenty of 2 tight end sets, and adding Warren to a group that includes Jonnu Smith and Durham Smythe would give Tua Tagovailoa another dynamic weapon. Some analysts project Warren as a top 10 pick, but if he somehow falls to 13, Miami might have a tough decision to make. So there you have it, 5 potential first-round targets that could make an immediate impact in Miami. The Dolphins have options, and each of these players would fill a key need. But what do you think? Which of these names excites you the most? Would you rather see Miami go with an offensive lineman, a defensive back, or even a wild card like Warren? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. And stay tuned, because we're not done yet. In the next segment, we'll dive into more potential targets and analyze how Miami's draft strategy could unfold. Beyond the options already discussed, new trade market movements could directly impact the Miami Dolphins' plans for the 2024 draft. Sources close to the franchise indicate that the team is exploring scenarios to move up a few spots in the draft if one of their priority targets starts to slide down the board. One name drawing attention is offensive lineman Armin Mio. If Mio falls out of the top 10, there are indications that Miami could consider a trade to secure their pick, further strengthening the protection for Tua Tagovailoa. However, such a move would come at a high cost. To trade up in the draft, the Dolphins would likely need to involve their second-round pick and possibly a future mid-round selection. The big question is whether the franchise is willing to pay that price or if they will opt to wait and see who will be available at the 13th pick. Another possibility being discussed internally is a trade-down scenario. If the Dolphins' top targets are already off the board, sources suggest that the team could trade back a few spots and accumulate more picks to bolster multiple areas of the roster. This scenario would become even more likely if a quarterback-needy team, such as the Raiders or Seahawks, is willing to move up to secure a prospect at the position. Beyond draft movements, the Miami Dolphins are also keeping a close eye on the free agent market. The team is monitoring veteran players who could fill gaps before the season, reducing the need for a draft solely based on immediate needs. Among the speculated names, guard Dalton Risner and safety Justin Simmons appear as possible targets to strengthen the offensive line and secondary, respectively. If Miami manages to sign one of these veterans before the draft, their priorities at the 13th pick could shift dramatically. With less than a month until the draft, the landscape remains open and full of possibilities. The decisions made now will have a direct impact on the franchise's future and the team's competitiveness for the 2024 season. As the 2024 NFL Draft approaches, the Miami Dolphins continue to evaluate all possible strategies to maximize their draft capital and address key roster needs. While trade-up and trade-down scenarios remain on the table, another factor that could influence Miami's approach is the unpredictable nature of draft night. One variable the Dolphins front office is preparing for is the potential for surprise falls by highly regarded prospects. Every year, unexpected slides occur due to team preferences, medical concerns, or last-minute developments. If a top-tier talent, such as a defensive playmaker like linebacker Jarrett Franklin or cornerback Malik Stokes, remains available at pick 13, Miami could shift its focus away from offensive line reinforcements and instead take the best player available. Additionally, the Dolphins are keeping an eye on division rivals. The Buffalo Bills and New York Jets are also expected to target offensive linemen and wide receivers, which could create a ripple effect impacting Miami's options. If a run on linemen happens early, the Dolphins may need to pivot to other positions or consider a bold move to secure their desired player. Internally, Miami's coaching staff is also evaluating the long-term fit of current players, which could influence draft day decisions. The team is particularly focused on its defensive scheme under coordinator Anthony Weaver. There's growing speculation that Miami could look for a versatile edge rusher or hybrid linebacker to complement their defensive front, especially given Bradley Chubb's injury history and Jaylon Phillips' ongoing development. With just weeks remaining, the Dolphins' draft board is still fluid. The team's decision-makers will weigh all scenarios leading up to draft night, balancing immediate needs with long-term value. Whether Miami makes an aggressive move, stays put, or trades down for extra assets, the outcome of this draft will play a crucial role in shaping the franchise's trajectory for years to come. Now changing the subject, what if I told you that Xavier Howard might return to the Dolphins? Yeah, that's a real possibility, and people have been talking about it ever since his latest interview. He didn't play in 2024, but he's been training, wants to get back in the NFL, and guess what? He made it clear that he'd be open to returning to Miami. But here's the thing. So far, neither he nor the Dolphins front office have actually reached out to each other. Now, think about it. We desperately need a CB2. After cutting Kendall Fuller, who's locking down the other side of the field opposite Jalen Ramsey? Kader Kohu is solid, but he's more of a slot corner. Cam Smith? Still unproven. Storm Duck? An undrafted guy.